he's going to zoom in and
Oh, okay. Did you? His laptop. Or his iPad. His screen.
Femi logs in, and I'll log into this one too.
Yeah.
Do the resolutions.
It's working.
Recorded fixed.
Yeah, I just started it for this half.
Okay.
Yep. Just got a little signed in and got my going.
Let's see as you zoom in.
I don't think we have anybody attending besides you, Femi, right? Because I don't think anybody's asking to attend on Zoom. We're just going to use Zoom to record the meeting since we started recording on it, so we'll have 2 recordings.
Is there a chair there, Caleb?
So we don't need that started. It's recording right now? Okay, I'll start the recording.
Okay.
Yeah. Just make sure,
Yeah.
just make sure.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
Resolution.
Recording in progress.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order for this evening. We've been here since this afternoon, so we've done some of our the regular business, so we're now going to go into the planning. But before we do that, because we were in camera, I need a resolution to come out of camera for council.
Resolved that as per section 152.4 of the Municipal Act, Council of the Rural Municipality of St. Clements does now resume sitting a regular meeting.
And mover, please, Councillor Strang, Councillor Bazarowicz, second. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried. Okay, so the first item on our agenda tonight is a conditional use, but before we start the public hearing, I need a resolution to go into the public hearing, please.
Resolved that the regular meeting be adjourned and the public hearing be open for conditional use 22 of 2022.
To have a mover, please, Councillor Boulanger, second, Councillor Orbis. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, opposed, that is carried. Okay, so with that, Femi, if you could give us your report from the planning board, please.
Good evening, Council members, good evening, everybody. The first item tonight is conditional use application CU 22-2022. The location is 31126 Road 86 North, road number 516-300. So the intent of this application is to allow a contractor's establishment for a septic service use on the subject property within the A40 Agricultural Limited Zone. This is a conditional use table that shows that subject site is zone A40 and that under that zoning district, a conditional use application and approval is required for a contractor establishment vis-a-vis septic service. This is the subject site that shows the site itself and the surrounding context. And this is the existing site plan as submitted by the applicants. For council's consideration, the intent is to establish a septic service business within the A40 Agricultural Limited Zone to facilitate the removal of household wastes. The site will only be used for parking the operating vehicles which will be out of sight within an existing garage shop on site. The business will not be advertised on the subject property. Given the size of the property and the natural vegetation buffer, there is nothing to suggest that the subject proposal will have an adverse effect on the surrounding area. This is a small, non-conforming agricultural land. The proposed use will not affect agricultural operation within the immediate vicinity. The application was circulated to the RM of St. Clements and other government agencies with no concerns received. RRPD is recommending approval subject to two conditions as shown on the board. Thanks for that. That's my presentation.
Thank you for that, Femi. Any questions to Femi from members of council? Hearing and seeing no hands go up. Is the applicant in the audience this evening? Do you have anything that you want to add to your application at this point in time?
No, we're just here because we need to get a business license beyond the St. Clements. So in order to do that, we need to go through this process.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, any other questions from council?
No, I know the property, yeah, there, it's all good.
Okay, there was just one thing that Femi said about trucks, but you said you only have one truck for now? One truck for now, okay, perfect.
We have a big building on the property.
Yeah,
so,
you can
yeah.
see that from the aerial that there is a big building on the property, so. Okay, if council is ready to move forward, I will ask that we come out of the variation board or conditional use board, and we'll proceed with the resolution if council so wishes.
Resolve the public hearing for conditional use 22 of 2022 be closed and the regular session of council be reconvened.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Horbis, Councillor Bazarowitz seconds. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried. So I will now ask our administrator, our CAO, to please read the resolution for this conditional use application.
Whereas the applicant owner tax roll number 516300, a property legally described as lot line plan 19172 and located at 31128 Road 86 North, has made application for conditional use 22 of 2022 in order to allow a contractor's establishment, septic service, in the A40 agricultural limited zone. Therefore, be it resolved, conditional use application number 22 of 2022 be approved with the following conditions. That this conditional use approval is limited to what is proposed in this application. Any changes in use or additions will require a new conditional use application. Applicant owner obtains all required permits from Red River Planning District, municipality and or province if required. Approval shall expire if not acted upon within 12 months of the date of making.
Okay, can I have a mover, please? Councillor Spicer, Councillor Horbis seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried. So you're good to go. You can apply for your business license and you're on your way.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Okay, the next one we have is conditional use number 25 of 2022. And if I can get a resolution to move into the public hearing for this one, please.
Resolved that the regular meeting be adjourned and the public hearing be open for conditional use 25 of 2022.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Horbis, Councillor Strang seconds. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I will call a question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried. Okay, Femi, if you can go ahead with this one, please.
Container use application C-25-2022 is at 1043 Christine Road, road number 442500. The intent is to allow a child care center use on the subject property, which is zone PR, Parks and Recreation Zone. The table you're looking at is container use request table. It shows that the subject site is zone PR, which is Park and Recreation. And under that particular zone designation, the child care center is not listed as a use in that zone. So it's being listed as this particular use is being treated as any other PR use not listed in that under table 19. So this is the location map that shows the subject site and the existing surrounding context. And this is the site plan as submitted by the applicant. For council's consideration, the subject site is designated as settlement center in the RRPD development plan, where you find residential, commercial, and incidental uses. The The shared care center is an important community service, and there is no land use conflict between the proposed use and other uses within the immediate vicinity. Also, the secondary plan also designated site as institutional policy area, and the shared care centers are commonly found in these areas as they are next to institutions, including schools and government offices. Thus, a shared care center is compatible with the area. RPD is recommending approval subject to two conditions. Thanks. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you for that, Femi. Questions to the planner from council members? Okay, did you have anything you wanted to add to this application, Mr. Cirio, or should we just move out of our conditional use board?
Just that this is part of the announcement that the province and the municipality has made in order to bring a child care center with 74 spaces for future spaces, both for infants and preschoolers in this area that will be constructed. It's part of the commitment from the RMSA Clements. It's been shared in our as part of our public announcements. This was the designation of the land that needs to occur with it. It was already shared in our newsletters and as to what is being contemplated.
Thank you for that. Okay, if there are no questions or comments, I will ask for a resolution to move out of the conditional use because we are the applicant. I am not going to ask anybody if there's anybody here to speak on this application. I kind of recognize everybody that's here, and I don't know that anybody is here to speak on this one, so. Yes, go ahead.
Out of curiosity, the center that's already in the school, is there plans to, I take it that's where they're moving to?
This is new spaces. Must be additional spaces than what's already there.
Okay.
This is part of the commitment from the federal and the provincial government towards new spaces for child care throughout the country. And so many committed to within the province of Manitoba as part of that process.
Okay.
And I think there was a total of 9 in 9 municipalities that are being built right now.
Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
And there is a waiting list that's almost double the amount for spaces required,
Correct.
if I remember
Yes.
correctly.
Just within our own area, let alone.
Just within this area.
And what about when those kids continue forward into school? That's what I would like to know, because you're having additional space, which is awesome, I think that's amazing, as someone who has a young child. But I also am curious, because I've also heard that my child can't go to school here. And that's something that also is very concerning when you're opening a center, and the center, when those kids continue forward, I'm concerned that there's not going to be enough space, especially with 2 centers literally side by side. So that's
There's not
why.
a direct, madam, there's not a direct correlation between the number of children that are attending a daycare, because the daycare services people from throughout the area. Some people will be serviced from utilizing it that are in St. Clements. There might be somebody in St. Andrews, because people right now are dropping their children off in various centers, wherever there's space available. People have their names listed, so that doesn't mean that they are going to the same schools necessarily.
Maybe not, if you're correct on that.
And as to the growth for the school, that's something to bring forward with the school board, definitely.
Oh, I've already had.
Can I just get your name for the record? I should have asked you when you first started speaking. I apologize.
Teresa Ennis,
Teresa Ann's, okay, thank you.
An address that we need to know.
Okay.
81075 Gmail.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, anything else that you want to comment on? No? I guess I'm a little surprised when you say that you were told that your child can't go to school here.
Yes, there are several different options where I've heard it through a lot of different places because of new developments, that the school system is already at full capacity. And with my child moving forward and with the new developments that you see all the way around, I think it's amazing that you guys are having the other center and that the other center is still staying open. However, with that being said, I understand that you're saying that with growth is inevitable if right now, all the developments that are coming going around. But that's why I'm curious as to wonder why we're already built the school as someone who attended the school and knowing that it was at full capacity when it was a junior high and an elementary school. And now I'm being told that it's also at full capacity right now. And if the growth rate is continuing the way it is, where is children for school?
Councillor Boulogne.
I would suggest that the concern here does call the school board because, as Mr. CEO said, that is the best source of information. I have also heard this through speculation and innuendo, and I would just call it that. It's nobody actually calling the school board and talking to the superintendent and finding out from the horse's mouth where they're at. It's rumor going around, so I would suggest Mr. CEO's comments on that's where someone should call for direct information.
Yeah, yeah. And have you spoken to the school board?
I've spoken to Parent Advisory Council.
But you haven't spoken to the Lord
I've
Salter
also
School
spoken to
Division
someone.
superintendent?
Not the superintendent, no, but someone on the school board of trustees.
I would suggest that you try speaking directly with the superintendent and see what they're gonna tell you,
Thank you.
okay? Anybody else, anything? Okay, if we want to move this forward, can I have a resolution to close the public hearing, please?
Resolve the public hearing for conditional use 25 of 2022 be closed and the regular session of council be reconvened.
Can I have a move, please? Councillor Bazarowicz, Councillor Strang seconds. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, with that, if we can have the resolution for the conditional use for 25 of 2022, please.
Whereas the applicant owner of tax roll number 442500, property legally described as parcel A, land 9229 and located at 1043 Kinnison Road, has made application for conditional use 25 of 2022 in order to allow a child care center on the subject property. Therefore, be it resolved, conditional use application number 25 of 2022 be approved with the following conditions. This conditional use is limited to what is presented in this application. Any further changes, replacements, or additions would require a new conditional use approval. 2, applicant owner obtains all required permits from the Red River Planning District, and approval shall expire if not acted upon within 12 months of the date of making.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Strang, Councillor Horwath seconds. Discussion. Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay, the next item on our agenda is variation order number 121 of 2022. And if I can have a resolution to move into the variation order, please.
Resolve the regular meeting be adjourned and the public hearing be open for variation order 121 of 2022.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Horwath second, Councillor Bazarowicz. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Femi, if you could give us your report on this variance, please.
The next item on the agenda is variance application, BO 121-2022. The location is 29056 FPR 508, road number 447025 and 447400. The intent is to reduce the required site area for the proposed lots to 3 acres minimum from the required acres within the A8 agricultural general zone. This variance request is in fulfillment of condition 4 of final approved subdivision application S222953. This is the variance request table. It shows that the subject site area in the A80 zone. The minimum lot area is 8 acres. The applicant is proposing 3 acres in our lot. This is the subject site that shows the site itself and the surrounding area. And this is the submitted application mark as presented by the applicant. For council's consideration, this application is a formality. The original subject application, S222953, was approved by both the RMS Employments Council and the Area Planning District Board. The variance request is in fulfillment of condition 4 of the communal approved subdivision application noted above. Aside from the Manitoba Transportation and Infrastructure requirements, other commenting agencies bear any concerns. RPD is asking for 2 conditions. Should council choose to approve this application? And the 2 conditions are as listed here before. Thanks.
Thank you for that, Femi. Any questions to the planner from members of council? Okay, I see the applicant is in the audience. Do you have anything that you wanted to add to the application at this point?
Just that nothing will be changed. Everything's exactly the same as what it is. The house has been there already 7 years. There's no drainage. I'm just waiting back for, from the highways for the, we paid the permit. We're just waiting for that. All the other permits have been done and sent in already, so.
Yeah, and I think that was one of the conditions, that you get approval from the highways
Yep.
to have that access.
Yeah, and I have paid the deposit, just wait.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you for that. I see there are a couple of other names on here. Dennis, did you have anything that you wanted
No.
to add? I see
No,
you were in
I just
support
came
of
to
it.
support,
Yeah. And Teresa, you had anything to add at this point? No? Okay. Okay, any questions from council? Nothing? If we want to move ahead, if you could read the resolution to come out of the variation board.
Resolved that the public hearing for variation order 121 of 2022 be closed and the regular session of council be reconvened.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Strang, second. Councillor Horvis, any other discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried. Okay, resolution.
Whereas the opposite order of tax roll number 447025 and 447400 legally described as Park Northwest and Southwest 24-14-5E and located at 29056 PR 508 has made application for variation order 121 of 2022 from site area 80 acres to site area proposed lot 3 acres. Purpose to reduce the minimum site area proposed lot within the 80-acre agricultural general zone. The request variance in this application is part of the conditions within the conditionally approved subdivision application S 22-2953. Therefore, be it resolved, variation order 121 of 2022 be approved with the following conditions. That the variance is limited to what is being proposed in this application. Any further changes will require a new variance approval. 2, that the applicant owner is required to obtain a permit for the legalization of existing access to PR 508 to the residual lot. The legalization of the existing access to the proposed lot will also be included in this permit. For permit information, please contact the information provided as part of the application. This order shall expire if not acted upon within 12 months of date of making.
Thank you for that. Can I have a mover? Councillor Horvis moves. Second, please. Councillor Spicer seconds. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, we do have a couple of other items on our agenda which do not require public hearings. So out of curiosity, can I ask which application you're here for? Or are you just here to listen, or?
I think it's the,
2975. That's 22,2975.
Okay, the subdivision on Road 33 East?
yes.
Okay, it's not a public hearing, you're more than welcome to stay and listen, but there's not going to be an opportunity to speak on the application because there is no public hearing, so.
Sure.
Okay, just so you know. Thank you. Okay, so with that, we will go into our subdivisions where there are no public hearings required. And the first one we have is S 212914, and this is one that has come back to us with some additional information on the 2 Mile Road. So go ahead, Femi.
Yeah, so the subdivision application S212914 is coming back. The location is 76073 2 Mile Road. The intent is to create a proposed lot for an existing property within the A40 agricultural zone. But this is the subject site and the surrounding area. This is the revised SAM as submitted by the applicant, showing the structures on site as requested by council. And this is the summary of the A40 table that shows that in the A40, the minimum lot area is 40 acres, and the minimum site width is 300 acres. The applicant is proposing, meets the lot width, 300 feet, and is proposing a lot areas of 3.231 and a lot area of 6.15. So I went on site, I did a site visit, which shows the structures on site. And then this is looking out and looking at the proposed lot 1. These are existing structures on the subject site. RP analysis. Initial application had concerns about the submitted SAM not showing the existing structures, and that was why in 2021 the application was tabled, and the applicant was asked to provide a new SAM, and the SAM was updated with structures on it. So that was received by RPD. So proposed subdivision does not align with current development plan and zoning bylaw in terms of the site area. Council may want to consider comments from Manitoba Agriculture and Resource and Development, which outline the fact that the proposed subdivision does not interfere with surrounding agricultural land use. While there are few sub-40 acres A40 lots within the immediate vicinity, RPD recommends that the applicant seek a land redesignation in the development plan, followed by a rezoning of land to suit the subdivision. The applicant was previously granted a variance approval under BO 47/2011 to allow a home industry use with up to 15 exterior trailers in 2011. A variance approval to expand the number of trailers to 30 was granted in 2015 under BO 110/2015, which was for a period of 5 years. If this subdivision application is granted as proposed, all existing conditions have been satisfied, the 2011 variance will no longer be valid. The residual lot currently has a draft frontage to mile 2 and the PTH of 59. While Manitoba Transportation Infrastructure has no concerns with the subdivision, they will not approve direct access from PTH 59. RPD is recommending approval, is recommending not to approve the application subject to 4 conditions. The council wishes to approve it. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Femi. Any questions from council to the plan? Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
So just so I heard it correctly, you're suggesting that this should be redesignated and rezoned before the subdivision takes place?
So because of the sizes of the lots being created, which one is 3.231, the other one is 6.115. Our preference would be that the land should be redesignated because it's currently designated resource and agriculture area. We are on the zone A40, where the minimum lot area is 40 acres. So the intent with that is if it's redesignated maybe to settlement center and it's rezoned to RS or RA or RR, then maybe there won't be any need for side area variance. But it's up to council to make a decision on whether the redesignation is the appropriate channel.
Okay, thank you for that, Femi. I see the applicant is in the audience. Do you have anything that you want to add, anything further to the application? I say the applicant is in the audience.
I don't think you took the right pictures.
Well, I was kind of looking at that too.
You'll have to speak up because I'm very hard of hearing. Very hard.
I guess I just asked if there was anything you wanted to add to your application this evening.
Yeah, this has been going on for probably 7-8 years already. Recent developments, I told you last time,
Yeah.
my wife lost a leg, and it's not easy for me because I have to be there all the time. So it's time to to move on. I have a couple people interested in the property. It's a very nice shop. It would be beneficial for me. I would get my investment back. It would be beneficial for the municipality because the taxes are almost $1,000 a month. When I first moved there, they were about $2,300. Now they're almost $12,000. It's a lot of money to kick out every month. The building is empty. I have a couple people interested in buying it to recoup some of my investment, and life will go on, I guess. The only other option I have is if I can't get the subdivision, I'm going to have to go back to the assessment board and say, you know, this place is empty now. I'm not using it for commercial purposes at all. Nobody's there. So I need to get a tax break of some sort, because we just can't, we can't afford to keep it. You know, $1,000 a month when you're on pension is a lot of money.
Well, I think when you were here last time, there was a question about if there was somebody living in that building on the proposed lot.
It's right empty now.
Well, I was by there yesterday and there were Christmas lights on.
Pardon me?
I was by there last night and there were Christmas lights on that
Oh,
building.
that's possible, yeah. And the light, I try to keep it so that appears that somebody's staying there. Otherwise, we're going to lose more trailers and break-ins and everything else.
Well, and
My
there
son
are,
was living there for a while, and he's moved on now. He's got a business in Selkirk, one in Pine Falls. He's opening up so he kind of left the building, and I have to do something with it.
well, and there still are a number of travel trailers in the back there, are there
There's
not?
one, yeah. There's only one.
What did you say
Yeah.
yesterday?
Well, I'm not, there's different places, like along 59,
Speak up.
there's different places, like if you're coming south
Yes,
along 59, there's the first trailer, right? There's a white trailer with a brown fence around.
well, that's my neighbor.
No, that's not it.
That's not it.
Yeah.
No,
So, okay.
that's my neighbor. He probably has,
He's got a bunch of trailers.
yeah, he's got about
To the
15,
north.
20 trailers
Yeah,
there.
okay.
That's
So
my
then,
neighbor.
then the next piece of property is the big long building, right?
Yes, that's
But
mine.
you were here last time and you said that building inside there was somebody living there.
Yes, there was.
And you said you had permits from the planning board to make that building
Yeah.
that way.
See
Is
what-
that correct or no?
Yes. I brought the plans with me.
Okay, good.
I don't know if it was a misunderstanding or not, but when I put the application in, it came with the blueprints. And the blueprints do show that there is a living quarters there. Okay? Then the assessment board came by and they had a look at this, and they hit me with, it was over $20,000 in taxes, and I said, whoa. So I figured, well, I'm gonna appeal it. So just before the appeal, the guy called me back and said, why don't we settle at $11,500? I said, okay, we'll settle at $11,500. But they never come and looked at the property. They just taxed me for it. And I said, according to what they had seen on the plan. So,
Are you talking about the whole property where your building is, then where your house is, and then the other building is, and then the shed? Is that all one piece of
yes,
property?
it is, yes.
So out of all that property there, for all those buildings,
Yeah,
you're getting taxed $1,000 a month, you say, right?
yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Go ahead, Councilor Belanger, please speak up.
Okay, so there's one thing of having plans for a projected or a planned building, but there's another point of having plans, but you need permits through the Red River Planning Board to build the building. My question is, you have plans for that building originally, you had plans drawn up.
Yes,
Did Red River Planning give you an actual building permit to start building that building with the
Yes.
residents within it?
yeah.
And do you have that building
Yeah.
permit here? Yeah, those are drawings. Those are drawings from an architect, but do you have the actual building permit for the green light to build that?
Yeah.
Counselor, may I?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I-
I have here.
From our understanding, it's, yeah,
And
But the,
excuse me, sir, excuse me,
here's the
Just,
building.
can you just hang on a sec,
yeah,
sir?
just one second. Let him answer, let Red River answer, we
Okay.
understand you submitted plans.
So, what happened in I sent a memo to council. In 2015, a permit application was submitted to Red River Planning that shows that this is the building, and it shows the living quarter as a future part of the accessory structure. So Red River Permit Department was in the process of issuing a permit when in 2016, the applicant updated this to show that it is now, the permit was resealed with the living quarters not shown as future again, which means the living quarter is now part of the accessory structure itself.
Yeah, if you
So,
allow me,
so it was approved, it was passed by RRPD, but a permit was not issued.
That's what I'm getting.
no, that's not what your memo says, Kenny. A permit was issued in 2015 for the accessory structure.
That is.
In 2016, the applicant made revisions to the plans to include the staff dwelling within the accessory building. The staff unit listed as a permitted use, so it was listed as a permitted use.
So this is the
And
one,
then,
this is the one that.
yeah, but you said that, yeah, and it says, however, all relevant inspections were not complete.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
they received a building permit, they just didn't get occupancy permit,
Permit,
that's
yeah.
different. So they received the building permit, they didn't receive an occupancy permit because there were no further inspections done. So, also, no occupancy permit was neither applied for nor issued for the living. So what you did was you made a request to change, so you went and got a build permit for an accessory structure. Okay? You went and got a permit in 2015
Mhm.
for building your accessory structure. A year later, you came by and made a change and said, we're going to put in living quarters in here, staff living in there. You were permitted to do that, but you were required to apply for the occupancy permit when you were complete and ask for inspections. None of that was ever done.
Okay.
So none of that was done, and so the business, if your business ceases to operate, there should be nobody living in there anymore, at all. And as the structure of the proposed law remains an accessory structure, even with the staff living in a unit, the zoning bylaw does not specify where a staff living unit should be located on site. But what we have as a problem is you have an accessory structure without the main structure if you split it. So the accessory structure would be required to be removed?
There are a couple of options, and I think I gave that in my memo. So it is either is removed, it's either there's a variance, or the accessory lot will remain without the principal building, or it turns the accessory structure into a living structure and apply for a permit.
So to make this clear, these are the 4 recommendations that have come back from Red River Planning.
Yeah, I would like to ask Councilor LeBlanc a question. So those, when you say that those travel trailers are on the neighbor's property,
That's to the north, yeah.
are they on the north side of the government road
Yeah.
allowance?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, yes. Yeah.
drive down that road,
I
76.
have to look that, because to me, they're all on the south side.
So, sorry, the intent of the site visit is to go take pictures
Right,
and to show whether,
Yeah.
whether or not there are trailers on site.
yeah,
And if you look at the one that is currently showing, is showing the accessory structure without trailers on that piece here.
okay. Okay, anything else? Council Belanger, did you have a question or a comment?
No, I don't.
Okay, so I'm looking again for the recommendations from planning. And the recommendations were for not approving it. And if council so chose to approve it, there were some conditions, and that's what I'm trying to find.
So planning wants to rezone it all, is that correct?
Correct.
And development plan amendment too.
Yeah. That would be free applications.
Well, what would be the best way to do it? And probably the cheapest way to do it, what would that be? To rezone it all?
The cheapest way to do it is to approve it the way it is,
And then do a variance.
then do a variance.
You still have to pay for the variance, so.
Yeah.
That would be the cheapest way, but there would be some additional things that are required as part of that, and I think that needs to be
Yeah,
clear.
and
Yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead, Rob.
More variance.
at the end of the day, you have a residence that was put within that building that was never final inspected.
Right,
We don't know as a council if we approve him to,
He's on a hold, right? Sorry.
if we approve him to go forward with that residence within that structure that was never approved by an authorized approver,
right,
and something should happen, then we're putting our blind eyes to something in that, it was built as a residence, but never given final inspection or inspections when it was being constructed. That's the problem I'm having.
yeah,
Like, I'm not saying it in a bad way to the applicant.
right,
I'm just saying, as an approving authority, how can we
yeah,
say everything's fine when nothing was approved?
right. Okay, Deepak's gonna go over the conditions and we'll see where we'll see what choices the applicant has at this point in time.
So I'm gonna make an attempt here, Family, please correct me if I'm wrong. So if council chooses to allow this subdivision to occur, the applicant will still require, so let me say a little, let me start over again so you can hear me. So if council approves this as a subdivision,
Yeah,
then you will be required to come back and get a variance
okay,
for the property,
yeah,
because both properties require variance.
Yes.
Both of them do not comply. So when you subdivide them and create it two, both are gonna require variance, so you're gonna have to make a new application for those.
okay,
On top of that, because one of those properties has a building on it
yeah,
that wasn't allowed to be allowing anybody to live in it, wasn't intended for that, something has to be done with that. So you have council has one of four options to instruct you. One is, you convert the existing building, the accessory structure, into, going through a building permit, into a dwelling with a garage.
okay,
And that's gonna cost a lot of money and a lot of effort because it's a Quonset type of building, right? The other is, you may explore a variance for it, which is unlikely because it hasn't even been approved for construction. The other is, you may remove the accessory structure, take it out of there completely so you can subdivide the land and sell the land. And lastly is, or that's the three options that are available, sorry. And already, the Red River Planning District inspectors are already following up on the fact that this was never inspected or allowed to be occupied. They're gonna come and do inspections.
they came a number of times, and I don't know what happened, I finished it, they came to do the electrical, the plumbing,
It was never finalized.
and,
Yeah. From their records, Yeah, they did inspections, but they
Yeah.
never finalized it. They never said it was okay. Just because they come and take a look at it, they'll
Yeah.
identify, oh, this needs to be done, or this one isn't, this part isn't complete. That hadn't been done yet. So there was stuff
I know
still
with the
outstanding.
the electrical, I had to change a couple breakers, which I did, but they never came back.
Yes, you were required to call them to come back when you did the work.
Yeah.
And so that hasn't happened. So where we are today is, are you prepared to remove the building?
Well, as it stands, I can't afford to keep it, right? Because I can't work anymore, I'm taking care of Judy. $1,000 a month is just way too much, and we just can't afford it anymore. So, I just want to get it subdivided, sell it off so I can take care of my wife and life goes on, you know?
Okay, but council's gonna approve the subdivision based on something else happening, is,
Yeah, Councillor Boulanger, go ahead.
In assistance to the applicant, can he not sell that portion that has the unauthorized dwelling in it? And when he does sell it, we make sure there's conditions saying, and I think we mentioned this last time, that it's not for habitable, because it's never been approved.
Right.
It's not for habitable purposes, so he can still get his remuneration, he can get his money he needs. Sell the place, but we make it clear that nobody can live in it because it's never been authorized to live in. That's helping him, he's able to sell it, but it's just not for,
it hasn't been closed off at all. It hasn't even been okay to even use.
okay.
Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
Yeah, the challenge with what you're saying is you have an accessory building now on a lot without a residence.
Okay, yeah.
So that's not really allowed either.
Yeah, go ahead, Femi, and then I got a comment too.
If the route is to get it approved, he will need, aside from the lot area variance, he will need some other variances, like variance to have an accessory structure without a principal dwelling. And I'm sure there will be conditions that
Has council ever approved an accessory structure without a principal dwelling?
I can't speak to that, but.
No, they haven't. So let's not give an option that will never happen.
Yeah.
Okay, my question is, you say you have a buyer for it.
Yeah,
Okay, so is your prospective buyer thinking he's...
I got actually 3 people that would like the building because it's right on the highway. They want to carry on doing some sort of business there. So it would be beneficial for me, and it would be beneficial for the municipality because the taxes would still be there, right?
Okay, so if I could finish, I was gonna say, so any of these prospective buyers that you have, they wanna carry on a business, but do they want to live on that property?
I
Because
haven't-
that's where the
I
problem
didn't
is.
ask. I didn't ask.
Because I don't know that they would have an issue being able to carry on the business from that property, but they could not live there. Is that correct?
No, the moment,
can't run a
if
business
the
on
subdivision goes through,
Yeah?
all existing businesses goes with the land. So,
Okay.
yeah, they will need to come back here for.
So that's all gone.
Yeah.
That's all gone too. Go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, but if it's going to be a business property, then it should be redesignated and rezoned.
Commercial.
That's the issue.
Go ahead, Councillor Strang.
I guess the other thing is,
Speak up.
I guess the other thing is to gut out that portion too, right? Because we don't allow habitable in shops and garages.
It's not the issue, but there's no dwelling
But
on
then
the
there's no
property.
dwelling, yeah. So it's almost the easiest thing is to take the building off the lease. I don't know.
Or rezone it commercial.
Yeah.
Is that possible?
It's even more difficult.
You can't rezone unless you redesignate, so 3 applications.
Because it's right on the highway, kind of makes sense in a way, I guess. But,
But it'll require a development plan amendment.
yeah.
Yeah.
So.
I tried to go that route, to go commercial. It cost me $7,000. Red River Planning opposed it, and so I asked Jennifer, so why didn't you tell me that before I gave you the $7,000? right? If I would've known that you guys would be against it, I would have given you $7,000.
So the only other way to solve this, I think, is if you would build a house on that property, on the other side on 2 Mile Road, you'd have to put a house there, a dwelling, and then somebody could run their business from the back. Then we'd probably subdivide, right?
And you'd have to take the living quarters out of that building still.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, they'll never pass it anyways, because it's,
It's not passed.
yeah.
Just
It's like one thing files.
Yeah. The only other way I'm thinking is if you have people who want to buy that, but you're gonna stay in your house, right?
Yes, yeah.
So somebody wants to buy that piece of property and that building,
Mhm.
but they would have to build a home there so they could have that other building. Otherwise, what planning is saying is you have to take that building right off of that property, then we could subdivide it, and then you could sell it.
So once the building is off the property, the lot is worth nothing, really.
And the injector would have to be
You know?
disconnected.
It's the building that's worth the money,
Yeah,
so,
Remind me.
if we can subdivide it, and then if the people that buy it have to build a house, then they build a house.
well, that's something you'll have to ask them first, because I guess planning isn't gonna give you the permission to do that.
Yeah.
Now, Councillor Boulanger brought up a good point. Is there an ejector system on that, where that building is?
Comments?
There's two of them, there's one on each side.
Mr. Sala, is there an ejector system on that property that you want to sell?
Pardon me?
An ejector system for sewage disposal? Go ahead, Scott. Can you
I'm
just-
very hard of hearing, I'm sorry, I've got my hearing aids in, but
What,
I'm getting,
what have you done for getting rid of the sewer on each one of those lots? Is there an ejector on both
yes,
proposed lots?
yes.
Okay.
So because he's selling it, he's gonna have to well, whatever happens, it's gonna have to be disconnected, decommissioned. Correct?
Yeah, correct.
Both lots?
Just one, the one he's selling, I would think.
Actually,
big enough.
When you need 10
They
acres for an
may be,
injector.
they may be too small.
yeah.
There's just one domino after another, because I think opening up another can of worms.
So the best thing would be just to rezone it, not subdivide it. The best thing to do would be not subdivide it and rezone it all back to residential and then just keep that building on there, right? Or residential. But I don't know why his taxes are $1,000 a month, they shouldn't be.
Because they're running a business.
Oh,
Yeah,
He should be going to.
That was a business tax.
Yeah.
Reassess.
that's a lot of money, $1,000 a
Yeah,
month,
yeah.
it's a ton of money, man.
Yeah.
And if you're not working, it just drains your savings accounts, I mean,
If you've discontinued the business, you can go to the assessment department. If you've discontinued the business, you
Yes.
should be able to go to the assessment department to
Yes. Well,
reassess.
it's empty now, so, it's either get a subdivision, flip it, and whoever buys it can carry on with their own business. It's a win-win situation for me.
That's the bottom line. You cannot subdivide it and sell it as a business.
No, I'll sell the building.
Yeah, but you're selling the building for somebody to run a business, and they can't run a business anymore. That whole opportunity to run a business
Yeah.
there would be gone the moment you subdivide.
Yeah.
So the moment you subdivide, it means all it is just some building on there. It can't be used as
They
a
would
business.
have to apply, right? If they would want to run a business.
Well, then you
No,
gotta
they
put
can't
whole
run
thing-
they can't run a business on there if they're not living there.
Okay,
And we're telling you that that building shouldn't have been lived in to begin with.
But the
There
reason
is no-
you had the permit, sorry, Madam Mayor.
That's okay.
The reason you had the permit is because you have a house
Yeah,
and another building.
yeah,
And that's because it's a home-based business, that's why.
yeah,
The
okay.
moment you subdivide it, that's separated.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And the moment you subdivide it, you lose the business. That's why everybody wanted to be careful to let you know what the ramifications are for
Yeah,
all
yeah.
this. So now, if you subdivide and sell, nobody can run it as a business, and they can't apply to run it as a business
unless they live there.
unless they build a
Unless they live in
house.
their own house,
Unless they build a
or a
house.
separate house, okay.
Yeah.
I
So
think
that
that-
makes it more difficult to do that. So the subdivision may not be the best route for you.
Plus, he's gonna have to put holding tanks in, or he's gonna have to put a field
Yes.
on both
And-
properties.
And you can't use the same sewer system for both your current house and your new house.
Yeah, they're separate already,
No, but you can't, you're gonna discontinue. The moment you subdivide it,
yes,
there'll be less than 10 acres.
yes.
When it's less than 10 acres, they don't allow you to use an injector system. That means you gotta go to holding tanks.
Yes,
Are you prepared to do that?
yes.
I don't think they were approved to begin with as ejectors.
Okay. So it's up to council, and he's prepared to do all those things.
okay, so where is the proposed resolution with all the conditions?
You know, when I had a condition.
That's why I wanna look at it here.
Yeah.
The resolution.
I just
there
think
is no
maybe
resolution.
somebody
Yeah,
should,
there is. It's page
it's not really
9 of
fair if he
17.
can't hear, you know what I mean? Somebody really has to tell him what's fair or what's what.
Can I make a suggestion?
Go ahead, Counselor Spicer.
As our CAO has said, there's significant ramifications of decisions that are being made here. I'm wondering if we shouldn't table this and have administration meet with the applicant and explain the options so that it's fully understood.
I would concur with that in a small room in Mr. CAO's office where the hearing can be one-on-one and not.
Yeah. Cool in silence.
And I guess the question that I think probably is the best thing, but are we going to run into any issues with taking too long to make a decision on the application?
No, so remember this applicant came in 2021,
Oh, okay,
and
so,
the B37 was in 2022, so I'm
Great.
sorry.
Okay.
It's not subject to B37.
okay,
Max.
Bill, is that?
You okay with that?
I would recommend that RPD also sit in on that meeting.
Yeah,
So be it, yes.
yeah.
Yeah. They're here 2 days a week.
Because not sure that we're getting across
The
even just the
ramifications.
financial ramifications,
Yeah.
let alone
Policy.
policy.
But I think too, I mean, I agree with everything, but I also think that Mr. Salas should be going to assessment to see about that, the assessed values.
And
at
that
the
can
same
be
time.
part of the
Yes,
discussion, because
part of
that
the
might
discussion,
solve
so.
some of this. If he can say it's a vacant building not being used, his assessment's gonna be a lot less.
And
Okay,
his other building by his home, he's not doing business out of that one either
So
anymore.
they should look at not
Why,
to.
he would just discontinue his business,
Yeah.
give up his license and discontinue the business.
do you still have a business license for your home place? Are you doing anything out of the home place now?
No, I have to be with Judy
Retired.
24/7, so I,
Yeah, okay, so I don't know if you caught any of that, but what we've kind of decided is we're not gonna make a decision again today. And I know that's probably not what you wanted to
No, it's
hear.
okay.
But what we would like to do is we would like you to meet with our CAO, DPAC, and somebody from RRPD at our office here.
okay,
DPAC will set up a date, And then everything will be discussed in a smaller space so that we don't have to
Talking
yell at
here.
each other. So hopefully that we can come to some resolve as to how to move this forward
Yeah,
for
okay.
you. Are you okay with that?
I'm okay with that. Will it be this year or next year? Well, it's almost the new year.
I'll check with RPD for their time, and yes, I'd like to do it this year and get it
Okay.
out of the way as quickly as possible.
Because only other option I would have is to go to the assessment board and say, listen, we're not using this building anymore. You'll have to reduce our taxes. We can't.
Well, I think you should be doing that anyways.
Yeah,
Yeah,
If you've stopped doing it, see, you need to understand, you can't sell it as a business. So having it as a business license, every day you go, you're paying taxes on something you're not doing.
I know.
So stop paying taxes on something you're not doing
Yeah, it's
immediately.
It's
That's the
bad
first
people
step.
are,
Because there's no advantage at all of having that business license anymore.
No.
You stop doing it, and there's no advantage to sell it by saying there was a business here, because that's gone too,
That's right.
the moment you stop to buy it.
Did you ever think about selling the whole place? Would you, the people who want to buy it, if they bought your house and your other building and that building?
I would
That-
have to move in with you.
Well, show lots of room. I got lots of room at home, but
Yeah,
that's a reason, a way you could get around all this.
Yeah, I know.
Then you could sell it all, and
Yeah,
it would
I
be
realize that.
legal.
But the house I built, I don't know why I built it this way, it's one floor.
Yeah,
Now Judy's in a wheelchair, she can get around and do all of that. Trying to find a bungalow with no stairs is, we'd have to build one.
I have stairs in my house. As soon as you come in, you have to go
Yeah.
upstairs or downstairs.
So,
But Glenn's house is a bungalow.
yeah, so,
okay, so I
she
think.
likes it there and I like it there.
Yeah.
It's a nice place to live. The only thing is,
Taxes.
something happened, right, and it's something we can't do anything about. We have to live with it. I still have a lot of energy, but I have to spend it with,
Yeah.
So I'll set up a meeting with you, and we'll talk about it. The first thing, we're gonna stop your business if you wanna proceed any further with the
Jeremy
assessment
moved on
department,
last
so that you're
spring
not
already.
paying any more taxes.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
first thing you need to do is stop paying taxes
Yeah.
that are
Go to the
$1,000 a month.
Stop paying.
Not stop paying for
Still gonna
like
pay
that
taxes.
Go
No,
to
that's,
assessment.
like, you say it fast, it's 12,000, but it comes every month, man.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I just wrote a check, last week or, but at the end of the month there for,
You
Yeah.
could probably reduce that by 80%,
Yeah.
yeah.
if you could
That
just,
would be quite a bit.
yeah.
Well,
Okay.
Kayla would like
I just
to.
have a question about the business license. I'm wondering, should we get like a cease and desist letter from him? That way it shows that he's not renewing in the future and it's not left open.
Yes.
For planning purposes only.
Yeah,
I know it might not be required for some, but just so that it's on record.
great. Okay, thanks for that.
So did you hear that, sir?
No,
So you're also gonna get a letter that's gonna say, stop running your business because you've already stopped.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's already.
For your
stopped.
business license, that you can't renew your business license anymore.
It can't be dated back to when he did really stop, eh?
He
For
said
tax
only
purposes.
earlier this year, I think. When did you quit using your place for business? Like your business, when did you quit doing
Okay.
your business?
June, May,
No, I don't think I sold anything last year.
Okay.
When did your wife get hurt?
At a CD and auto, just buying and selling vehicles and stuff, and
Yeah.
I,
Okay, so just a letter from, you will send him a
I'll
letter?
send a letter, just,
Yeah.
just get him to sign it and
Yeah.
just return it.
Okay, So we're gonna close it off for tonight. You're gonna get a letter from the municipality saying that you're no longer in business and we're gonna ask you to sign it,
Yeah,
so
but
you don't
that
have to.
doesn't,
Can I finish and then you can
the
ask?
fact that I have a dealer's license for automobiles and stuff has nothing to do with the subdivision, does it?
But you're carrying on a business from that property and that's not allowable.
Okay.
He's being charged department
Can I make a suggestion?
from the school portion of taxes, he's being charged residential plus on business for school.
Okay, I think what we're gonna do, and I think I know what you're gonna say is, Mr. Sala, when you meet with DPAC and someone from planning, we're gonna have
Yeah.
that all in a package for you and they'll go over everything for
Okay.
you.
That's good.
Okay,
All right.
perfect, so we're closing it off for tonight.
Okay, thanks for your time.
Licensed after a while.
Food pays, I think that aren't they just to the school divisions.
For the 8,000, it's been a big check back already.
Because it's a percentage.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get back to our agenda here. The next item we have is another subdivision with no public hearing, and it's file number S22-2975. So, Femi, if you could take us through that one, please.
The next item is a subdivision application S42-75. The address is 876 Road 33E, road number 457-200. The intent of this application is to create 2 lots from an existing parcel in the A80 zone. This is the subject property that shows the surrounding context. And this is the subdivision application map as represented by the applicants. And this is the summary table for the A80 bulk requirement in terms of what the lot area requirement is, lot width. The applicant is proposing 70.76 acre and another 1.5 acre lot from the parcel. RRPD analysis, both proposed lot 1 and residential lot will remain as currently zoned A8 agricultural. While both lots comply with the lot width requirement of the zoning bylaw, variances will be required for the substandard lot areas. Subject proposal appears to meet the inherent intent of the resource and agricultural policies of the RRP development plan. The proposal is consistent with objective that a small holding of 5 acre parcel will be held on a separate title, development of a residential dwelling for individuals whose presence is necessary in assisting with permitted agricultural activities. Residual lots and existing residential dwelling will continue to be one parcel and will be used as a farmland. It is noted that a future subdivision to create a separate title for the current residential dwelling on such a property will not be possible. Aside from Manitoba Agriculture, Hydrologic Forecasting Branch, and the land and the water licensing requirements, other commenting agencies are internal concerns. RRPD recommend approval subject to 5 conditions. That concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Questions to the planner? Hearing and seeing none is,
So,
oh, go ahead, sorry, Councillor Spicer.
so I know I just heard it, but I want to make sure that we all understand it. So only one subdivision is allowed, so there's no subdividing the yard site off of the piece of property later.
Yes.
Go ahead, Councillor Boulanger.
As well, Manitoba Agriculture is not in approval of it either. If you look at this colored map, the land looks like low-lined, not farmed in any which way. Again, I don't understand the policy of agriculture to just flat right say no without actually looking at what's here. They're saying they disapprove because the policy of it, you can't, however they word about 80 acres and, but it's not farm land, it's not farmable land, it's not being farmed. they're giving it outright no without even knowing what the land is being used for.
Well, and I think we've run into that before. And as we say, they should be going out and having a look at it before comments are put forward. Go ahead, Councillor Vazerovich.
On that note, like we've approved some before, have they ever come back and tried to overrule their decision?
No.
No.
Well, the only thing is, rules are a little different now, so they,
Yeah.
you know, with Bill 37, I think they could if they really wanted to push it, correct?
I think the fact that the applicant is only making one subdivision, and it's a 5 acre lot from the agricultural parcel, and we making it known in the report that you can only do this once, and that even the existing house cannot no longer be subdivided. I think it's pretty much clear.
To me, it's not really a subdivision, you're just taking
Will
a
this be
piece of
put on-
property over a piece of
Will
land.
this be put on title?
Yeah.
Okay, so the applicant understands that?
I discussed the intent of why we recommend approval with the applicant, saying that you know when we do this, you can't create subdivision anymore.
So they can take that one piece of property they have there, and then they can sell all that other property around if they want.
Correct.
Okay, so if council is ready to deal with it, I will ask for the resolution, because there is no public hearing on this one.
Regarding subdivision application S222975 proposed width to subdivide north one half of the southeast 1/4 of section 16-14-6 EPM, excluding firstly public drain plan 2442 Winnipeg Land Titles Office, and secondly Water Control Works Plan 7336 Winnipeg Land Titles Office. Resolved that council approve the said application subject to the following conditions. Applicant owner submits confirmation in writing from the Chief Administrative Office of the municipality that A, taxes on the land to be subdivided for the current year and any arrears have been paid. B, development levies to be paid as per bylaw 14 of 2009. And C, provide a digital copy of the plan of subdivision to the Arm of St. Clements. 2, applicant owner submits written confirmation from the Manitoba Sustainable Development, Environmental Compliance and Enforcement that the existing sewage injector system has been decommissioned or that a certificate of exemption has been issued by the provincial department. 3, applicant owner obtains water rights licensing from the Drainage and Water Rights Licensing Branch of the Manitoba Conservation and Climate for control works and or construct, establish or maintain any water control works. 4, applicant owner provides written confirmation from Manitoba Infrastructure and Transportation, Hydrological Forecasting, and Water Management that all work authorization has been obtained from the agency as detailed in their correspondence dated November 22nd, 2022. 5, applicant owner obtains variances for undersized lots from the Red River Planning District.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Vazerovich, Councillor Strang seconds. Any other discussion, questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried. Okay, we have one more subdivision that is not required for a public hearing, and that is at 5129 Rebec Road, and it's file number S222976. Go if you want.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Have a good
Thank
night.
you. Yeah.
Can't leave you up, stay there.
It was fun.
Good night.
We should have brought
Good
coffee.
night. Go ahead, Debbie.
The subdivision application S22-2976, the location is 5129 Rebec Road, road number 40400. The intent is to create a proposed lot from an existing AR agricultural restricted parcel. So this is the location map that shows the southern side and the surrounding area. And this is the SAM, the submitted application map, as presented by the applicant, creating 2 lots and the road allowance. And this is the table that shows what the property or sale property is zoned AR and what the requirements are in terms of site area and site width, 4 acre and then 198 feet. The applicant is proposing 2.326 acre and 2.326 acre for both lots. And one lot will be 102 feet in terms of width, and that one will be 99.2. RRPD analysis, the 2 proposed lots do not comply with the area lot width and lot area requirements of the St. Clements zoning bylaw. However, variances will only be required for the reduced lot areas. Study proposal is compatible with the general development pattern in the area and appears to meet the general intent of federal estate policies for the RRPD plan. Study proposal is consistent with policy 4.2.11.1 in that the property falls within the quadrant where small infill lots may be permitted in St. Clements. The newly created lots front onto an existing big public roadway, River Road and Raleigh Road. The applicant is proposing a road allowance which is consistent with the previous subdivision approvals within the immediate vicinity. This is to facilitate the expansion of road network in the area. Solid proposal is compatible with existing surrounding lot sizes and past the subdivisions approved by council in the area, examples S132478 and some other examples of the same lot sizes in the area. Given the examples within the immediate vicinity, the proposal is consistent with policy 4.2.11.1.2, development plan, which speaks to infill lots reflecting the established sizes of character of surrounding properties along the same public road. RRPD is recommending approval subject to 4 conditions. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you for that, Femi. Any questions for the planner? If council is ready to deal with this application, I will ask Deepak to please read the resolution.
Regarding subdivision application number S22-2976, proposal of Cottowich to subdivide all portions of the northerly 99 feet of OTM lot 222 parish of St. Andrews, which lies in the west of the western limit road allowance, west of the adjoining of the land taken for right-of-way of Canadian Pacific Railway, 12 of the Winnipeg Land Titles Office, 1 division. Resolved that the council approve the said application subject to the following conditions. 1, applicant owner submits confirmation in writing from the chief administrative officer of the municipality that A, taxes on lands be subdivided for the current year and any arrears have been paid. Development levies to be paid as per bylaw 14 of 2009, and C, provide a digital copy of the plan of subdivision to the RMC comments. 2, applicant owner obtains a water license from the Drainage and Water Licensing Branch of Manitoba Conservation and Climate Control Works to construct, establish, and maintain any water control works. 3, applicant owner submits written confirmation from RRPD from Manitoba Hydro that the easement agreements have been entered into with Manitoba Hydro with respect to the existing and future facilities associated with subdivision of the plan of easement as required by the Real Property Act has been provided. Registration of this agreement will be included as a condition of the final certificate of approval. And 4, applicant owner obtains variances for undersized lots from their general planning district.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Strang, second. Councillor Spicer. Any discussion?
I have one question
Sure.
that I should have asked earlier. So does the site width requirement for AR come from the minimum site width for septic field of 198 feet?
I think they are different. So one is the zoning bylaw and the other one is from the province. The province requires.
Where did 198 feet come from? Picked it out of the air?
It's in the zoning bylaws, but we don't know how.
I think originally it was intended that way, to align with it, and then the province has their requirements.
So then, once sewer systems come in, lot widths could be changed.
Considerably, yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, I think I have a mover and a seconder. Go ahead, Councillor Strang.
And there is, I just noticed the little picture, but I was trying to read in here, but there, the roadway will be taken for future development too, there, that piece.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else? I believe I have a mover and a seconder, so I will call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay, so I do believe that that concludes our planning matters for this evening. So Femi, you're off the hook.
Amy gets to go home now.
Yeah.
Madam Mayor, may I suggest you have Councilor Horwath here for a short period, and there's a couple of items that could be discussed in camera with Councilor Horwath. As opposed to the rest of
8
the
minutes,
agenda.
Yes, we can move into camera and do those couple of items before Councilor Horvath does have to leave, and we'll do the rest after. So if you want to read the resolution, go into camera.
Resolved that council recess the regular meeting and go into in-camera to discuss legal and personnel issues, and further be it resolved that all matters discussed are remain confidential as per section 83(1)(b) of the Municipal Act.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Strang, Councillor Horvath seconds, all in favor?
Recording stopped.
I don't know about who's recording there.
Good night.
Good night,
Have
Chrissy.
a good holidays.
Merry holidays to you and your family.
Everything Sala did on that property from beginning to end was smoke and mirrors. He tried to.
Just still recording.
Sandra, you shouldn't say stuff. Okay.
Freaking thing was done already. Jeez.
Well, one is, we have both going today, so. Oh, I should get my phone now.
Okay, I didn't learn how to turn this off.
Those beans are starting to go to work here.
Hurry up, he's gotta go.
No problem. Like, how many years ago was he?
Pause it.
He's got 2 on. You know, in a way, you almost feel sorry for him, but I think some of it's in that. Oh, no.
I think that.
He knows exactly what was going on.
Yeah, it's it. Yeah. It's just that, kind of feel sorry for him in a way, you know.
Well, you kind of do, but you know what, he's
Been fleecing us for 20 years.